Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. Rhett is out in the living room. It is 10:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Marietta, Georgia. It's 34 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so like just a hair over 0 Celsius. I believe 32 degrees is 0 Celsius, and I believe that there's 2.5 degrees, about 2.5 degrees Celsius to every degree Fahrenheit. So no, 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit to every degree Celsius. So I think um, it's less than a degree Celsius right now here. Um, when I fed the cats, we have what are known as feral cats. They're cats that were once tame but are now wild, or now don't live, aren't domesticated anymore. There's a lot of feral cats in my neighborhood, and I always put out food for them and water for them, and the water they had was frozen this morning. So it was pretty cold last night. Anyways, oh, and I was gonna say that, so it used to be that India was the number one watcher of my videos. I don't have a lot of people, so we're not talking about a lot of people. There are not a lot of people watch my videos, but of those, it used to be India was number one, the United States was number two. Sometimes Brazil was number two. Um, but now it's Bangladesh. About 16% of the people who watch my videos are from Bangladesh, and then like 5% are from India, and then like 4.9% are from the United States, and then like 1.5% are from um, uh, Brazil. And I don't know if that, because that all adds up to, about 30%. I don't know if that means that the other 70% are spread out all over the rest of the world, or if that means that they can't determine what the other 30% are. Not sure what that means. But anyways, so we are working on this, and we had a bug, and I think we have it fixed, but I think I ran out of time because I was like flowing yesterday during the video, and then I was ended up being like 9 minutes late to work in the morning. We do get a lunch hour, so I did work 30 minutes during my lunch hour, and then I worked about another 20 minutes after the close. So I definitely worked extra, but yeah, time just got away from me. So the issue was we click this, close this, go here, come back, add another one. Okay, and it wasn't there. Now, I think we started to see another issue. Yeah, so now it's doing something different, and I don't know if that's a problem or not. And it is interesting that it only doesn't seem to do it once, which is fascinating. If I add one now, that is so interesting. And the new one ended up, well, there for a second, and now it seems to be there. But anyways, yeah. So I think we're moving in the right direction. So we need to clean this code up because, um, you know, it's just doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be done. Um, and but it seems like, okay, so the if physical is attaction, that should be attached. That is crazy. Attached. Reading. That's not even right. Attached. Is that right? That's what we want. And honestly, the only reason we're doing this is just so that it's a little easier to read. Um, Not because it's necessary. We could just run that. And it might actually not even be, maybe this is easier to read. Actually, I think this is easier to read than adding that layer of abstraction. Sometimes you can add a layer of abstraction and it can be less useful. So we don't need that. And one of the things is I can usually freely just sort of delete things whenever I feel like it, but I really can't now because um, the problem is that um, I can't now because I have so many Git changes. Like normally I'd be working on a bug like this and the only changes would be for this bug, but I have all these extra Git changes so I can't. And that is a direct result of a rule that I added, and that was that I would have everything unit tested to 100% and um, everything end-to-end tested, all end-to-end tests pass and added if I need to add new ones for before every commit. I am really starting to believe that that was a mistake. Um, I probably should have like um, um, I should probably have something more along the lines of like a circle, like hey, you check you get it all working, what you think is working, then you do a commit. Then you do all the unit tests for it, and then you do a commit. And then you do all the end-to-end tests, and then you do a commit. And then at any given time, if you need to rewrite code, you do a commit. So that it all comes in one thing. But I can't really do that because I'm only working on one branch at the moment called getting started because I just don't think I have the fundamental parts done. So I'm just sort of in a very awkward situation at the moment. But it looks like we want to just take all of the code that we have that does stuff and move it into its own inside of that else, right? So basically, if this component is attached, return false, else return had empty. So that seems to work. I mean, that seems like that there weren't any issues. Probably need to do a little bit of this. So we're trying to move this code to make it make a little more sense. So there's only two possibilities. We'll never get out of here, right? If basically we're going to return had empty. So let's just make sure nothing is that we didn't reverse. Okay, so we're still in that state. So that to me means that we can just delete all this stuff. I don't think we need any of this stuff. It's always hard to delete that because we worked pretty hard on getting all that stuff so we can figure out what the heck was going on in this application. Okay, and this is a whole function that we got rid of. I'm like trying to kind of go back in time and try to understand, okay, why did I get to this point? And I think it's because we did some refactors along the way. And I do think that as we get more pieces built out, we're going to end up doing more refactors. And that this is probably going to happen more times. And I do think that the reason that is the case is because I completely didn't know what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was doing because I had already built a similar project kind of like that, but I didn't. Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And then I thought that, so that was one thing. And then the other thing is this is so much more complicated. Interacting with ThreeJS and with Angular and with the browser and with, I guess that's it, is so much more complicated than just most things. And that's probably why nothing like this exists right now. So we have our empty visualization. So basically this is silly, right? Having two returns. Let's go ahead and let's just, for now, we'll create something called did something. And we're going to set that to false. And then we're going to assign something to false, which is already, it's already false. So that's really a doesn't do anything. And then I don't think this is actually accurate. I don't know if I think we actually did something. Actually, true. And then we're going to return. And this should break our unit test. Now, all right. So then that means that I can just change this to did not is attached. Because basically we're presetting it to false, and that's the only thing that branch did. This is going to be like very difficult to unit test, right? Because I'm going to have to pass it in a component. Well, I guess not with the attached is equal to true. Probably won't be that hard to unit test. All right. Now we need to sort of go through and evaluate all of these comments to see if we should be getting the first. Okay, so this was a very, very old thing, and I don't know that. I think, okay, I want to keep it. Found empty visualization is equal to false. That had empty. I don't think we need the had empty anymore. Because we don't care if it had an empty one. What we care about is did it do anything at all. So let's delete that. Delete that. Okay. So now it looks like we don't even do anything here. So before I make the next change, I just want to make sure that nothing unexpectedly broke because of these changes. Or at least we have the general, nothing is blatantly broken. Okay, so now, okay, we don't want this comment. This comment, I don't think is helping us anymore. And that did make having this commented out more useless because now we don't even know where that function had been called. So now this returns that, and so is this a boolean? Okay, so that's something. I'm just saying that, hey, if that was not undefined, then we found an empty. And I guess this means existing, that there is one. Okay, so this console log was just there to figure stuff out. And it looks like we don't actually even do anything in here. And this is very strange because it doesn't look like we do anything in here either. It looks like literally all we ever do is create a new visualization. I never tested this change. Late for work. Sad face. So it looks like we don't even need this. I can hit Control Z to get back to where we're at, but it looks like no matter what, if we don't have a visualization, and it doesn't even look like we use existing visual. It looks like we always create one. So I don't know. Maybe that's why it's moving. It started hopping. Um, And, it wouldn't surprise me if we have to come back and do a whole another round of figuring stuff out because basically we do have a new bug. Um, and it may be because of this existing visualization situation. Um, but really the goal was to make sure that kept working. But see, this, I have a feeling, is because of this existing visualization situation. Let's do this console log. So basically, if what I'm saying is right, that means that when we come back, there's already an existing visualization and we're creating a new visualization, even though there's an existing one. So maybe we do need to do something, but then I think we have to attach it. And I don't know exactly what create visualization. I think we need to attach this component to this visualization if it already exists. I think that's what's happening here, but I don't know. I really don't. F12. Oh, do I have a filter. Okay, and the one we care about, see, we have too many. Okay, is this existing VIX? So I don't think I have VIX anywhere else. So see, so this time we have an existing visualization. And now when we come back, here, so I think we probably created a visualization at that point when we shouldn't have. Yeah, see, I think at this point, well, it's weird though, because it's weird. So see, we have, let's clear this. It's just, what I can't figure out is the visualization just getting the wrong value, or is the, um, so it looks like we have two visualizations, and that the left is 0 and the right, the the left here is 0 and that is 200. So the left is 0 and this is 200. I don't know. Yeah, so this is very strange because this is right. This is exactly how that should be. So, but it seems like if there is an existing visualization, oh, and it has its own viz component, or at least it has an ID. So something is probably broken in there. I don't know. Fortunately, we cannot fix everything at once. I wish it could. Okay, so did something is not quite accurate. It's true. It is 100% accurate, but not precise enough. Um, so created a visualization, and it's an ST visualization, right? So we are in. Well, we're in the visualization service now, but there is no visualization. Okay. The only thing that exists is an ST visualization. There's not a yeah. So and this actually returns the ST visualization. So I'm gonna change that to ST visualization so it's a little easier to make sense of. That should break. Oh, we have a problem with it did something as well. So we know we created it. We created ST visualization. We know that we renamed that one ST. Hopefully that's it, but there may be another place. Now there is, for the most part, I have ST and a corresponding 3. There is no visualization concept in ThreeJS, so that was probably my logic behind not adding the ST, but it did make it a little bit harder to understand. So felt like it was a good idea to change it back. Okay, so I guess I got rid of a console log I had here for this. Because it seems like right now what we're doing is we're creating, if we already have an existing one and we're creating an ST one, but it seems like we should be attaching it to the existing ST visualization if it already exists. So I'm going to do this. Let's do the VIX thing again since it was already. So this is our indicator that a visualization already exists, and it shouldn't. So it was undefined, which is what we expect. Now we go over here, and it's defined, and it's ST visualization ID 1. I mean ID. I cannot remember. I think this is the renderer ID up here. And it has this component ID there of 8. So let's go back over here. So it's still, it found ST visualization 9, component ID 8. But it created a ST visualization, right? It doesn't seem like we should be creating one. Okay, so let's do this. Try that again. So we had no visualization, and then we have a component ID of 8. Okay, so now if we change views, we have a visualization ID, and we have a component ID of 8. Let's clear that. Let's go back over here. It's still the same deal. We created a visualization. I don't know what's happening when we create a visualization. It doesn't seem like we should be creating a visualization. As you see, this has an ST component ID of 13. But we found no. Let's close this up. Okay, we found our original thing, and it still has the component ID of 8, but our actual component has a component ID of 13. So yeah, something is screwy there. They should be the same. And I think the thing is what should be happening, I don't know if this is going to break anything, but should be saying if existing, and see, we're kind of going in a circle, but if that exists, then we should take our new component ID. So we should take our existing ST visualization dot no, I guess it's our ST viz component ID. I don't think you can do this with this component dot ST component. We're trying to set it, so I don't know why you put the question mark there. And it's saying that this might be empty, which is that's not true. Oh, wrong one. What did I do? Get visualization for component. All right, something is really weird here. All right, so now we're starting to really see like holes in this thing. All right, so one over here. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of this old comment. Okay. See if there is a visualization that is empty. It doesn't have a component. If there is a visualization that does not have a component. So that's one thing we do. Two. And I think this is actually distracting now. And we're not even using it. Okay, so that's number one. Is there a visualization that doesn't have a component on it? And then number two, okay, so this is screwy, yeah. See if there is a visualization for this component. Right? So that's what this thing is doing. It's a little hard to see because all right. Then okay, so if it already has an existing component, we shouldn't. If there's a visualization for this component, we shouldn't do anything to it. So I don't know if this works, but like that's how it should work. Not existing. Man, this is still so screwy. And man, there was so much more code there before. But we're sort of focusing on the problem. So basically, I don't even think we should be doing that first thing unless there's not an existing. Right? We shouldn't even do this. Right? Like if there is a component, if there is a existing, and this may not work. Like I keep saying that over and over again. This honestly, this code may not work, but this is how it should work, right? Like when we come in, if it's not attached, then there's two possibilities. One, the visualization could exist, but it hasn't been attached to it yet. Or two, the visualization may not exist at all. So if the visualization doesn't exist, okay, so if there's an existing visualization, then we do not want to do anything with this one. Right, so that's the other case, right? Like we have a component and it is not attached to a. Oh, does this even actually? Yeah, if there is an existing vision. Okay, existing visualization. So okay, so the visualization exists, but the component hasn't been attached to it. So okay, so if it's not attached, then check to see if there's a visualization for that component. And now, if there's not, then we need to create. What the heck? It almost feels like existing. If there is an the only way it would know there was an existing visualization, that it would have to be attached in order for it to know. So it almost seems like we don't even need this at all. This, if that is true, then we are seeing is a classic example of over-engineering. I have just over-engineered the heck out of this thing. So I don't think we even need any of this, right? Because like it's attached. If there, I think it would only find it if it found it. Like if it looks in get. Well, let's go look. So it takes a component in the visualization and then find component factory function. Okay, so this is definitely something I need for something else. But it's looking for, yeah, it would have to be attached. So I don't think that is possible at this point in time. It may have been possible at some point, but at this point, I don't think we could get past this. It would be attached if it existed, I think. Now, there probably may have been a time when that wasn't the case, but now I think it is. Now, it's weird because we actually were seeing that where the visualization existed. So I I don't know why. I don't understand how it can be attached and not, or how it could exist and not be attached. I guess that's the thing. It might be possible, but okay. So nothing is breaking, right? All with all of this stuff removed. So get first empty visualization. So, and we're not even using this. We're just creating a visualization. Okay, so let's see if there's an empty. And I think this is all because of a timing issue. And these you see these timing issues a lot in Angular because where I see this happen a lot is when you take a component, like you have a big component and then you have logic and DOM elements inside your component, and then you decide to take that and make a subcomponent out of it. And now the timing has changed and you start seeing weird sort of issues around timing. Um, and I'm wondering if that's how I ended up in this spot. 12. Oh, it was empty. So empty is undefined. So then it created a new one. That makes sense to me. Now, empty is not undefined, and we created a new one. Let's just do that just so we can read it. So I'm going to do this. Empty. This is for our filter. Create. See, I think we shouldn't be creating a new one if we find an empty one. We should just use the empty one. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think so. So that's empty, empty, create new. Then we come over here. And I don't think we should be creating a new one. I think we should be. Oh, we have the viz component. All right, so we have our viz component. And actually, I probably just want to use. See, he has an st component. Okay, so here's a problem. I don't really understand what ST component ID, ST viz component ID. Was his, so his ST component was ID. The next time it came around, 8, it was still attached to this one. But this is the one it should be. And I would really rather this name be ST viz component ID. Let's see. This ST, okay, so this should be viz component, I think. I hope. Pretty sure. That's the problem. Oh, okay. ST. ST viz component. Looks like I have other ST components. So what is this one? Okay, I don't want to change that one yet. I probably will at some point, but so this one's broken. Viz component. Boy, I really made a mess of this. I hit save. Just let the transpiler help me from there. Okay, so it's telling me that it's declared here. Oh, let's hit save. I hadn't saved the first one, so it's telling me that ST viz component is declared here. So, okay, gotcha. Then I think it's saying there's a problem here. And this is our create visualization. See, so we're creating a new visualization. Looks like our animation system may be using it. No, okay, so our animation system. All right, so let's make sure we didn't. If we did, oh my gosh, I've got this. Okay, so that's working. Let's see if it's still doing its weird thing. Okay, so okay, let's go back to ours. So let's hit back here. All right, so basically what okay, so what I left out here is that I had, I don't quite understand it. Get first empty visualization, because the visualization I don't think is empty. Let's see what, how does it know? Oh my gosh, get, oh. So if something doesn't have a component, I don't even, yeah, I don't know what the heck is going on here. But I think, and I think that, okay, so empty get first. So this creates one, even though we found an empty one. I don't know how it's empty. Empty viz component. What makes it empty? So this is going to go through each one of them, and then it's going to look for something where the ST visualization is equal to the visualization. And what is visualization? That's the thing that we're passing in. No, this is weird. Okay, so we're creating a visualization that can either be an ST visualization. It can be either be undefined or a visualization. And so it's by default undefined. At this moment, it is undefined. My God, Marty, why did you write the code this way? And then we're saying this is what makes sure that it's already undefined. And then we're saying, hey, if the component exists for this thing, and then it comes back and it's like, I got one that's empty. And I think this is just saying, hey, if it's undefined, if if visualization was undefined when we looped through there and we got our visualization. ST. Now I'm very confused. What is ST? Oh, now that is local ST visualization. So this is just a very fancy way of saying if ST visualization is currently undefined. Oh, no, 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 no. This is saying that ST visualization is the current one that we found. Okay, so, and it's weird that that comparison, I guess, yeah, that's checking in memory, saying, hey, is this the exact same one? Doesn't mean it matches, like the stuff inside can match, but it's fine. So we found something. And what makes it empty is what I don't understand. Oh, because this is local ST visualization. Um, what makes it empty is that it couldn't find a component. When I did my viz component by ST, it could not actually find that component, I guess. This is probably like the very, very, very worst part about being a software developer. Like what I'm experiencing right now is just a nightmare scenario um, that was completely created by me, for me. Um, and I got no one to blame but myself. This is a disaster because I'm saying get the first empty visualization, and then I'm coming in here and I'm saying get this component. So I couldn't find it. Apparently, the component doesn't exist. Let's see, what does this say? Oh, so this will return a number. Oh, that takes a component ID and returns a whole component. So it could not find a component that matches this visualization. And since it found a visualization, a local ST visualization, but it could not find a component for that visualization, that would mean that that component probably doesn't exist anymore. So I think if this component doesn't exist, and you would never want to put a comment like this in like a professional job. If this component not exist, it's probable delete. I do not know if this is true or not, but that's what I think we're going for. And this is probably the number one thing that will kill the number one technical thing that will kill a project is when you start getting to where you just can't make sense of things anymore. Um, and like I can't tell you how many jobs I've worked at where it's like everything is like everything's like this. Like you just dig in and like everything, you can't make sense of it. And eventually they go, you know what? We've got too much spaghetti code. We're going to go redo this whole thing again. And then they just do this again. And then they just do this again. And you end up with projects that just get started over and over and over again. And they all have these great ideas and they come out and then it all breaks. And, I'm trying to, I guess, understand why that happens. And I think I'm starting to get a pretty good view of why that happens because I was as careful as I could be, and I've created this mess. Um, and as you might be able to sense, I'm insanely frustrated with myself about this. But so we have an empty, undefined, so we're going to create a new one. Now, when we go here, so the ST visualization already exists. We shouldn't be creating a new ST visualization, but we do. We found that we have one. So this was the one we created before. So let's do this again. So it was undefined, so we created a new one. Right, so now we come over here. Now we had one, and we created a new one. And see, the thing is so let's back here, reload, add viz. All right, so we have a viz component. We create a new ST component for it, and the ST viz component ID. So that's the ID that I am collecting for myself to keep track of this component. Which keeping track of components wasn't even a concept before, so maybe that's why I've it's all falling apart. Now, if I come over here and I go to a different view, it's going to redraw because the old component gets destroyed and the new component comes in. Boom. So we found one, but we created a new one anyways. And this one thinks its component ID is 9. That component should not even exist anymore. If it does, that's a memory leak. But now our component ID is 8. Oh, okay. Look at the wrong. So that's right? Because that has, and I think that's just pure luck. I think what happened was I recycled it, and then when I came back, I ended up creating a new one for the same exact one. So we ended up. Oh, I think that's why things are just magically moving. Okay, so now when we come back here, I think it actually screws things up. Okay, because we have our viz component of 8. We still probably have a viz component of 8. But our new viz component is 13. So now let's close this, close this. We say we have a viz component of 8, but this is a viz component ID of 13. So that should be 13. So I think what we're supposed to do is, and I'm going to just straight up, just like you, this is what getting smarter feels like. It's frustrating. But if you go through and you just write a bunch of code and it all works perfectly and you never, then you're not growing. These are what is known as growing pains. Um, and so basically, we should not be creating a new visualization in here. So it is getting unattached, which is a good thing. Well, no, the new one yeah, automatically. Okay, so yeah, the old component is destroyed. The new component that got passed in is now um, unattached. So basically, but if we find an empty visualization, right, then we should put this one in that empty one. Else, and we're kind of like going in circles here, right? Because we've um, we've we were kind of like this before, but we had other stuff, and now we're finding the code's getting better and better. I mean, I'm not trying to say that I didn't screw up. I definitely screwed up, but you know, like anytime I lose at fantasy football, I'm really good at fantasy football. Anytime I lose at fantasy football, I always look at it as okay, why did I lose? What can I learn from this? You know, like in some ways, I prefer losing to winning because I learn more I lose. There would be no point to doing this project for me if like that was part of the point of selecting this project is I knew there was a lot of complications where I've worked on things like this in the past with ThreeJS and all that, and it's just freaking unraveled on me. Um, so you know that was part of the reason for doing this. So I'm just curious, like I come here and then I come back. So I don't quite understand why it's still working. And I'm curious if I go here and I go to update. Yeah, see, I'm still on renderer number one, but something is screwed up. But it definitely, okay, so now that whole original thing is broken. Um, so the thing I've been trying to deal with where we go, add, just rebroke, right? And we go here, go back here, we hit add. See, we're back to where we. But I think okay, so I think what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to take empty visualization and then say dot sc visualization is component ID is equal to this component dot stviz component ID. So basically we're attaching it, and then in both cases we should mark it as attached. I don't know. This feels right. Now we only created a visualization over here. Otherwise we just attach to existing visualization. I don't know if that's gonna work. I don't know why. No. If I create a new visualization, then it will work, but not if I just simply attach the existing visualization. But I feel like this code is right. Let's see, control, I mean F12. So let's clear this. Let's go over here and come back. Okay, so, well, that's a, well, yeah, something is screwed up. So we have there's like a loop that calls this upservice. So control F, control V. Yeah, this thing. I think I have empty. So we are absolutely stalled out right now. This is what I would call stalled out. Our filter is looking for the word empty, so we'll add that there. F12. Okay, so we have no components. We have one is component. Now, I wish I had my list of ST components here too. Now we'll just do this. Now we come over here, come back here. Let's clear this. Add one. So we have two viz components. Found one empty component. I don't even know what that means. Now the component ID looks right? Like, it's kind of weird though. Okay, so what's weird about this is, okay, so it looks like we only get in here once. Empty create new. Right? Because, oh, okay, the second time. So we came in twice. One for this guy, for this top viz component. This top viz component first has a viz component ID of 12. And then it was like, okay, I found it. And it had, but it's saying, hey, I have a viz st viz component ID of 20. So this component has a viz, I'm guessing the second one is 20. All right, so assign the second one to the first spot. All right, so let's do this. So this shouldn't make a difference. I kind of, well, yeah, I don't want to be here yet. Do this. Clear. So then, I think I want to be here when I add one. Okay, so I'm going to add one. Add this. All right, so we have an array of one component. It has a component ID of 8. Oh, did it not get in here? Okay, I don't know what happened. I think I might have misused the tool here. Let's reload. I want to add in here. Now I'm going to go through each one and I'm going to do an upsert. So that means that I want to either create a new visualization. I don't even know what kind of visualization. I think create a new I want to create a new ST visualization if one doesn't exist for it, or I want to update the one if it does. So boom. And this one, no ST visualizations should exist. Oh, that's right here. Okay. So created an ST visualization is false. First thing we want to see is this visualization attached? And it should not be. It should be false. Has been attached is false. So we're going to step in here, and we're going to come over here. Now, this is going to see if there is an empty visualization. I don't know. I think there's something really, really wrong about this code here. But it's going to check to see for an empty visualization. And did not find an empty visualization. So now it's going to come over here and it's going to create a new ST visualization. And then that's good. I'm just looking at the one above it. Okay, so that's good. So we are good. Now, I wonder, does it go to the second one? Like, have we completely broken this if I hit a second one? Okay, so we have two components. I'm just going to run. Okay, so it does work when we have this. So now at this point, I guess we have two existing components. So now when we leave, we don't want to create a new visualization. The visualizations already exist for this. So I'm going to go over here, and what we expect to be is this, right? Because the problem is that the component is not, the component that we were showing before is dead now. It's been destroyed. It's supposed to have been destroyed. So these new components do not, like, just take one step over. So our new components, oh, right now it's saying that there's 0 components. Okay, so we should never even get to that, get into this line of code. Okay, what the heck? Yeah, I don't think this is right. What are we iterating over? Okay, I'm going to step in and see if we actually end up in there. Yes. Okay, it didn't do it. Just okay, so it didn't do anything, which I think is what is expected. Okay, so now I guess we want to change. I don't know what just happened. If I'm being completely honest, it was weird. We went through the set of visualization for our components, but it's like they're the original components. Oh man. Still 0. Okay, so now we're back. We have our viz components. I'm assuming that their IDs have changed. Like this is viz component ID 24. And it is not attached, right? It has been attached as false. Let's go back into here, run. So now we want to upsert. Now we have our visualization service. I'm guessing that has all the ST visualizations. This is attached. So we know we're going to get it here. Now this somehow goes through all of the ST visualizations. So I want to see how to do that so that we can add that. So I'm going to step into this one. Okay, so it is in here. It's this ST visualizations. So I'm going to come up here. Now let's do it this way. console.log. Let's add the word empty just for our filter. st visual. I'm having such a hard time right now because it's like this would be a delicious one to just drop into a flow state and just start grinding away at this. It would be like heaven. But that is exactly what I'm trying to learn. So I'm just going to run this out, hit reload, run it out, run it out, run it out, run it out, run it out. All right, fresh. Okay, so now we don't have anything, right? So I actually, you know what? Let's add some code to this. So we're just going to say so I'm going to put this in here so I can just debug when it happens, when it matters. I'm tired of having to turn the debugger on and off. Alright, so we hit reload. We're not in the debugger, right? Yeah. Go to that view, hit this. We should have nothing in this ST visualizations. It's empty. We should have something there. And when we come back, we should have something in our ST visualizations. So hit play. See, now we have one thing in our ST visualizations, and we have nothing. We have one thing in our component list. So that is good. That's exactly what we want. So now let's here, run. Oh, I'm curious. Okay, is our ST visualizations? And it has a viz component ID of 1. What is this guy's viz component ID? Okay, they're 8 and 8, which that has been happening, right? Like for some reason, when it goes from this view, the grid view to the layout list view, and then back or to what I'm calling table view, but I guess list view is better. And then I come back, the ID is changing at that point. It's just one of those funny things. I'm sure it'd be easy to figure out why, but now come back over here. Okay, our viz components is 1, our ST visualizations is 1, our viz component ID is 12, our ST visualization ID is still 8, but it should be 12 when we get back to here. Now, if everything's working right, but it's still laying out wrong, I'm going to move on. I'm going to be like, okay, so something else is wrong. It's not this. So now I want my ST visualization to be like 12 or whatever it was. And that's right. My ST. Okay, what is the difference between ST visualization ID? Okay, this is the actual visualization. This is the component ID. So that is correct. Now we're back here again. Oh, we have a length of 0 this time. That is weird. I don't know what's happening. Now let's go back to here. Let's add another visualization. So we have two is components, right? And one of them is good, right? Like one of them is attached, and then the second one is not attached. So basically the first one should get completely ignored. It will do nothing to it. The second one should do something to it. So let's just, I guess, go into here. Just double check that that's what happens. So we should just go straight to here. So that is good. Did exactly what we wanted. Takes us up back to our viz components. Our first component. Oh no. Did I mess up? Should have. I don't know why we didn't end up in here twice. Okay, so is this one attached now? Oh, so this one's attached. So apparently I skipped. I don't know. That is weird. Because I don't. Let's look at our console log. Empty, create new one. So somehow we got to that empty, create new one. I guess we should add a break there. That is probably the most important thing. Oh, is that even right? Okay, so that's not even right. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix that. This is the when it's empty, create a new one right here. A new ST visualization. And then this is empty, which is a bad name. Empty update. And maybe if I was better at writing unit tests, I would have. That we would have unit tests that do all this. And maybe as I get better at writing unit tests, I'll do that. So let's restart. Okay, don't know why. It is so weird to me that it says that there is one though, but we don't. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I did. I did it. What in the world? Okay, viz component array is 0. Oh crap! So what's happening is this is being assigned at this point as it's not executing, it's being assigned. Yeah, like this. So that is wild. All right, so basically it's basically assigning that, and it's calling it twice, which is weird to me. Um, but it might be because I guess it's probably doing it for each one of the two views. Both views exist, they just don't get called. So now when I add one, and we're in grid view or custom view, now we have one. We do not have any ST visualizations, which is what we would expect. By the time we get down to here, now we should have an ST visualization, and we have components, and everything's good because the component's ID is 8, ST viz component ID, and then our ST visualization in our single visualization, the ST viz component ID is 8. So all is good. Now we come to this view, and basically it's the same. It's almost unfortunate, but just through pure luck, the viz component gets destroyed and then it gets recreated and has the exact same ID. So this ends up not being very useful. Now, oh yeah. Oh, so, oh, and it gets run once for each one. Okay, now we come back. This is where I think things get maybe getting messed up. Or they might be right and just some other piece of logic is messing up. But we have a viz component and it's got the wrong ID in it, which is, I guess, to be expected. It has viz component ID. We only have one viz component in existence, and it has a viz component ID of 12. So ideally, when we get back to here, we'll have only one, and it'll have a viz component ID of 12. Right? This will be the same. This should be the new component ID. And that's right. If that works that way, that's good. Doesn't mean it's going to draw correctly, but let's go back to our viz components. And its ID is correct. There's only one, and it has the correct ID. Not exactly sure why we end up there twice, but I'm pretty sure it's because both of the outer things are there. Both of the outer components are rendered. One's just hidden by CSS. So now we add a new one. So what should happen is there should be 2 of these. Yes. There should be 1 of these. Yes. The one should have the first one's component ID, which is 12. That's 12. So that's good. Now we should end up, when we come back, having 2 of these. And the second one should have a viz component ID of 20. Uh-oh. But we only have one. It has a viz component ID. Yeah, we only have one. What is its viz component ID? It's 20. Okay, so it did not update the correct one. It didn't create a new one. It should have created a new one. And yeah, and it did an update, not a create. So for some reason, on that second one, it decided to return the first one as empty. So yes, that is a problem. That is a problem. All right, so and that is why we only have the components. Both components exist, but only they're both. One of them is just drawn, and it doesn't. The animator doesn't even know. It doesn't even have an existing visualization. So there's something wrong in the get empty, which doesn't surprise me because that one was an absolute shit show. I think we can still step through it again if we add another one. Okay, so we come in here. There's 3 of these. There should be 2 of these, but there's only one, and so that's good. Come in here and figure out what is happening. So the first and the first, I think the first two probably are marked as attached. Right? Has been attached is true, and that's because we were already in here. Has been attached as false. So when we get over here, so if we come in here and then we step into this one, and we should only get here on the third one. So and basically it seems like it's getting an empty visualization when it shouldn't. Okay, so our viz component is the third component. It has a viz ID of 30. So get first empty visualization. Should we? Yeah, we have to. I was going to say, should we just always create one? But no, we have to. So now let's step into this thing. There's only one visualization, right? So it shouldn't even find one. So let's see. So our problem is in here. I think our other logic is perfect. I think this is the problem. Ooh. How did it get? This is going to return ST visualization. Oh man. Okay, we were trying to figure out okay how we got here, and it just skipped over. We're going to add the fourth one. Okay, so we still only have one visualization. Actually, this makes so much more sense. And it makes sense why creating was fixing things, but it wasn't really fixing things. It was just always creating a new one. And I think we've been bouncing back and forth between two bugs. One where we were just creating a new visualization every time, and one where we never create a new visualization. So it's, and then basically we should get this. We should only get here when, yeah, we have a component that is not attached. This is component ID 43. It's the only one that isn't marked as attached right now. And the reason it's being marked as attached is because it's getting attached just to the wrong ST. Only the fourth one, the very last one, is getting attached. Now we're trying to figure out this empty, get first empty. Okay, so there's an issue in there, which I think we already have a debug in there. Let's put one right there. All right, so we have our get first empty visualization. Okay, so this doesn't even accept anything. It's just looking for a visualization that's empty. And it shouldn't find any, right? It's finding the very first one that's saying, hey, that thing's empty. But it should be empty because it has a viz component ID. So maybe the problem is just in this. I'm trying to do like a full match. So somehow it gets assigned. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do we find? So that's not visualization. So I went through the component and basically this one is not empty. Okay, so that's the problem. I don't even know why I had this code. Basically, I should know that this visualization is not empty because it has a component ID. Now, that may not be enough because that component ID may not exist. Const component is undefined. Okay, so this thing was supposed to look in here and determine if okay, so get viz component by stid. It was like I didn't find viz component for this. So that means it's empty. That's, I guess, right, but not. Yeah, it shouldn't even matter. This component ID doesn't even matter. Yeah, that's crazy. Because I'm saying that if I don't find a component for this, a viz component, is this an ST? It's probably an ST. For this component, then it's empty. That's wrong. It's empty if, okay, so this is wrong. It's empty if it doesn't have, at the very, at the very least, and that might not be enough, but if it doesn't have a viz component, if if it doesn't have a viz component ID, then it's empty. Or if its viz component doesn't exist anymore. If the viz component doesn't exist, it's empty. But if the viz component exists, it's not empty. So the only way this should be empty is if this doesn't exist at all. I think. So let's go to line 182. And I guess it's not a big surprise that this code is screwed up. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to be good enough because I don't. Okay, so basically, one for sure, if is no is st is it local st visualization dot st component ID. And I believe that is. So if it has something there, I don't know what we do with this. I'm very curious now. Like, do we assign it? So so it has to, I think it's required. Let me go at that real quick. ST visualization, go to definition. So it has to be a number. I wonder. Okay, so local ST component. See, I'm actually passing in a viz component ID, so I think what we're supposed to be doing is finding a. So this, I think this whole thing is screwed up. Now I'm kind of seeing why I always add one, because the problem is the first. Okay, so what we're actually looking for is not an empty one. We're looking for a stale one, not an empty one. We're looking for a visualization with a component ID that no longer exists, so that we can give it this component to do whatever it's going to do with it. So determine if there is an ST visualization that has a component ID that no longer exists. That's really all we're looking for. Is like, is there an an ST visualization that doesn't have a component ID. So we can give it this component, and it can do whatever it wants with this component. And so basically what we want to do is, for all the components, we want to be able to, okay, I think there has to be one. So it's going to be, and we're going to name this stale instead of empty. And then we're just going to let the transpiler find problem. It's kind of cool that we found that. Okay, first stale. Okay, and it's stale. Okay, we're going to say determine if the visualization if the ST visualization, if there is an ST visualization that needs a component, because this component is going to get put into it if it needs a component. But if it does, if there isn't one that, so the first thing we're going to do is just determine, is there a visualization that needs a component? And if there is, then we're going to assign that. We're going to give it this component. We're going to say, hey, you do you figure out what you want to do with this component, but this is your component. Go to definition. So this code is just completely wrong. So we want to go through all of our visualization. I guess it's not complete. And we want to determine if there is if there is a component, if there's an ST visualization components ID that doesn't exist anymore. And I don't know, I don't think this has this. I don't think we have access to all the components in here, so we're gonna have to pass it in. So one, make sure that the component viz st component ID for this ST visualization still exists. But we won't be able to do that unless we have a copy of all the visualizations. So we're going to have to be able to put all the components. So we're going to have to be able to pass that in here. And see, this guy doesn't have it either. I believe the way this works, though, is it can. And you just have to remember this. It's in the spec, but like there's nothing obvious about this. And this is the index, which is a number. So this is when you do a for each, it automatically passes in the index. But like most linters will hammer you for passing something in that you don't use. So I've gotten out of the habit of I used to always pass everything that it got in. But then the other thing is there's some times where there's just hundreds of things and you can't pass them all in. I don't know, maybe that's not true. And then viz components it's a viz component array. So these are all of our viz components. So we want to pass all of those into this function. It's going to look through the viz components and see if this visualization already has. And it's upset because I guess I didn't tell it. Viz components, which is a did I do wrong? And I'm passing in this to there, and it's happy. It's happy over here. Oh, it needs a capital. And it's not plural. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to probably do like a find. And I believe find will return a -1 if it doesn't find anything. So I'm going to say const index is equal to is components dot find, and then we want to give it a function. I guess I'm just going to put an L in there. L viz component. Or do I? Actually, I don't ever call it viz component. Okay, so viz component. Viz component dot viz component ID is equal to local visualization dot st viz component ID. So basically, it's going to return an index of that, and so I believe it's like returns a -1. Or maybe it returns undefined. Oh, apparently, oh, it'll return the whole thing if it finds it. I think there's a, yeah. We find index. What does this do? -1. Okay, so if index equals to -1. So basically, if it didn't find one, then so now let's see what we get. And I knew that this was going to be a problem. Now that I'm thinking back, and maybe it's fake memories, but I feel like I knew that this was going to be a huge issue. Because I was like, oh, you have to find the one by index, not by blah, 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 blah. But actually, I want to find the one by expired component. Okay, so I just want to get, no, I want this one. This is the one I don't want. So basically what we're hoping to do is to visualization, get first stale. And there could be more than one stale visualization. So that's why it has to be the first one. So what we're looking at here is this ST visualization. We have one. Okay, and we've been good on the first one. It's still good. Now, the second one is where we've been having problems. The so this one, there's 2 of them. This one, there's 1. It's crazy how stressful this is. Okay. So that's 2. Oh no, it's still 1. So it did not work. Didn't find a still 1 apparently. So now we just have 1, even though we added a second one. So now we're going to add, and we have 3. Here we have 1. So let's hit run. Step over. So did we not find one with a -1? Is that the... That is weird. ST visualization should have been empty, right? Oh, okay. So it's saying that it found a viz component that did not have what index or ST visualization or local ST. So it had an ST component ID of 1. And in our collection of components, yeah, it's saying it didn't find that. Am I looking at the wrong one? Viz component ID. StViz. So I think we'll get a couple more chances at this because it's... Oh no, because the other ones are attached. Okay, so let's add one. Okay, here we are. Stale. Okay, this goes into there. It checks for the stale one. And I guess I want to go here and to there. And this is supposed to be looking for the index of one that has where the StViz component, local visualization ID. Am I looking at the right one? Yeah, visualization. And this has a visualization component ID of 28. And it's saying that it won't find one in the viz components 28, which I think should be this one, 28. So how is it not finding? Wait, yeah. So it seems like I should find one. It's going through each components, and it's saying, hey, if the viz component ID, so do we get it in there? Yeah. Viz component ID is 8. Yes, 8. 8 does not match 28, which the first one, okay, doesn't match. 18 does not match 28. This one should be 28. 28 matches 28. So we should get an index of 2. But for some reason that did not work. 41, is one a string and one a number? Is that the problem? I do not understand that. So index is going to end up being -1, even though this one did match that one in one of the cases. Okay, so let's do this again. Kind of want to just start all over. Okay, so the first one we definitely want to just blast through because it doesn't find any, so it would definitely create a new add. This is the trouble. You are the troublemaker. Okay, so we have one viz component. Or we have two viz components, and one of them has a viz component ID of 1. And then when we hit this, we have our ST visualization. Local visualization has a viz component ID of 8. So play. Okay. This is viz component ID of 8. This is ST viz component ID of 8. So that, oh, I think we're supposed to return. I didn't return. I do that all the time. It's like, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for having code in here. But in all cases, I'm still returning false. I think I need to do this. Return. Now I think that's good practice. First time. Oh. Second one. And okay, so we should end up with index of -1, right? Oh no, this one will find it, right? Because found it, x is equal to 0. So it should get an empty, right? It should end up, this should end up being empty, undefined. Undefined, yes. Boom. So we have this visualization. We have two visualizations now. And we're going to now go back over here. We're definitely slowly but surely moving. I don't think index should, yeah, index was 0 and 1, so that worked exactly like I would expect. Now, over here, oh, wrong one. Yeah, that's undefined, right? Yep. Perfect. Now this one, so this should come back or yeah, should not come back. So this is not, wait a second. Oh, because the number is, it's a freak of nature that the numbers are identical when we come over here. So it's kind of weird because it already had, the component IDs are right, and that's fine. At this point, I haven't seen a problem with like just if the two numbers end up by coincidence being the same. It just matters that that it has a component to work with. You just don't want it to not have a component to work with. Wow, it's taking a while. It's kind of making me think I have extra visualizations. What's going on? Get first stale visualization. Now this should have found stale visualizations though. Oh, this is actually returning the last one. So that did not work. Don't know why it didn't work. Let's try it again. Boom. So set up visualizations, viz component. We have 3 viz components and we have 4 ST visualizations. So yeah, that's a problem. So now we're creating too many. Now we're, see, I don't even think viz component 9 even exists anymore, right? So yeah, see, this is viz component. The very first one is viz component 26. So yeah, so let me refresh. So the problem now is that for some strange reason, when we do this, it's working, right? If I go like this, add. Oh, and yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't really come over here. And I think what it's doing is it's gonna end up what it oh no, because this one's a freak of nature where it just happens to have the same ID, so it shouldn't. I feel like that is okay. Now we come back. Okay, so we have viz components is 1, ST visualizations is 2. Okay, so that actually was a problem already. So, so this is a new problem. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to read the whole thing. All right. So we are working through things slowly but surely. So add. Okay, everything works fine on the first one. Now, when we change views, what it should theoretically do is, not even theoretically, what it absolutely should do is it should redraw with the correct, it should find it. It should find a stale one, but it's not finding a stale one. So we're going to go in this view. I don't know why we're already done here. Is length 0? Oh, that's weird. Okay, so I guess it gets called once before. Okay, so we have an array of this component. Array. And we have this. We're good. We're good right now, even with, and we're lucky because I think its component, STViz component ID is 8. And this thing has an STViz component. And it's just a freak of nature. It recycled the ID and then it unrecycled, and then it got a new ID and they just happen to be the same. So it looks like it's not. Oh, so yeah, so it shouldn't create 2 anyways. It should be like, okay, we're good. Oh, but the viz component. Yeah, so the problem is that the viz component. Okay, so it's not going to get a stale visualization. Oh, there's only 2. Oh, so if it found a stale visualization. Oh, so that is getting us because if it finds a stale visualization, well, it shouldn't find a stale. Oh, so it's not finding a stale visualization, but it has an attached component. And so it's creating one. So we have the edge case where you have a stale, where you have a component for it already, but it's not marked as attached. So that is a third case that we need to figure out. And I don't even know if that's going to solve all our problems. That's just a new problem that we have. So when we get our stale visualization, we should check to see if it's oh man, what a crazy, crazy, crazy edge case. So we come back, we don't have a stale one because it exists. But it already exists. So so we need to add a little bit of code up here to say, hey, is our oh man, I just don't even know what to do, because the thing is I guess we should change. Maybe the thing is before, like when we change views, so there's a timing issue, right? Where we get a zero arrays and it runs and all that. And the easiest thing in the world would be to say, hey, if I get zero, reset everything. But the problem is that we don't we don't we that's only a timing thing right now. So that's not guaranteed that we're always going to get one that's zero. Like that's just like something that we noticed. We actually need to do, whenever you change views, we need to reset all the components to -1 in the ST, and then that would solve a lot of these problems. So basically, whatever calls this set of visualization items, or no, whenever we change views, we should go in and I think that's at the app level. Apparently not. This, okay, that sets it up. That's the drawing loop. That's the request animation. I don't know what causes the layout to decide to change. I can't remember. See, because this is the where that is, right? Like app tabular layout. Oh, that might just be in the. Oof, I think that's just in the HTML app component. Oh, okay, so that gets that. Oh, this is. I'm trying to figure out like how it knows to change parent ng class current route service current route. So in here we get this, and this gets called, and it changes the route. Oof. Yeah, this is awful. Oh, so we have a signal called current route. So I guess I could listen to that signal in my. Oh, what a tangled web we make. Okay, so this current route service. So we can have an effect in here that would clear all of the. But okay, so but somehow it knows that it's. Okay, let's go back. So the thing is right now HTML, this gets called, and somehow these guys know that they're app custom app tabular. So let's go to the custom layout. Maybe that's coded in each layout. Yeah, so we have this effect, and that basically, oh, okay. So this gets called set up DOM visualizations. Anytime the router changes, it looks like. Oh man, that's my. Oh, I think my volume's been screwed up. So the ST renders gets the new renders. New renders get renders current view. So this gets the renderers for the current view. So let's see what's. Oh, okay, so that's this thing here. And then So then so it sets to nothing if this happens. Otherwise, it calls the UI service renderers to determine what the renders are that it wants to display. Go to definition. No, go to implementation. ST renders signal. This calls ST. So this is what figures out what the right renderers are. Publish render change. I think it's kind of weird. Okay, let me hit back again. Okay, UI service, if current view is top, oh, okay, so so over here is where it determines whether but okay, I guess in both cases, oh man, this sucks. And this is like kind of learning things, like signals is new. So I'd made changes and then I went away from using the router. And here I have this effect. And okay, so basically anytime the current route service emits, this guy gets set. I think we were just there. Okay, so over here, we turn this route into a signal, and the current route, I think we must publish to it. I did not think this was going to take this long. Oh, okay, so we turn this router events thing into a signal, and we call this code every time it happens. To signal this router. So that we filter it, we map it, we call this function, which I think we can, man, we are really getting down into the weeds here. I think we can just we can surround this with brackets. I don't think there's any impact to that. Well, maybe. Okay, let's put this on its own line. And then so this is what they call a arrow function. And I thought with an arrow function you can do this. Oh, darn it. I don't know why it's doing that. I thought you could just add like curly brackets between them. But maybe I have to do a return here. Okay. Apparently that returns something. So we need to return that. And then I think we need to reset all the ST visualizations here. So basically anytime we change routes, and I don't even know what the technical implications of that are. Console. And it's not. And what I was thinking would happen is as I would to all components. So that reset, oh, I have I had the filter on reset. Okay, so let's change this to reset. Oh man, look how often it got called. Okay, so as we do this, okay, so the reset, so that gets called every time we change routes. So we could technically, maybe, hopefully, pull in, who would do, I think it would be the visualization service, right? That's what we've been actively working. We could maybe create a function in here called reset visualizations. All ST visualization components. So what I think is happening is that the the component gets destroyed and gets recreated, and sometimes it gets recreated with the exact same number. And in that same case, it'll come back as stale, and then it will come back that there are no stale ones, and then it'll create a new visualization for the existing one. I think that's what's happening. I'm not 100% sure on that. And man, we are just getting farther and farther deeper into this commit with all thousands of changes in it. So return true, true, and then console.log, and reset is the new keyword. Reset, and it's this.st. And I think even if this doesn't fix everything, I think this is still the right thing to do. Every time you change views, all the components are destroyed. There was probably going to be some sort of issue with this anyways in the future. I guess I don't feel so bad about the sound being screwed up at the beginning of this, because if you're still watching at this point, God bless you. This is one of the worst videos ever. Add video. Okay, so, oh, we're not calling it. Okay, so basically we want to inject this visualization service and call that reset visualizations. So basically they all become stale automatically is the plan. I don't know if that's going to work, but that is the plan. Let me hit back. I don't even know where that, and that code is just, this is bleeding edge code, so private, oh my gosh, private colon equals inject. Let's change this to a little v. Let's import it. What? I mean, I guess because of the where I was at, and then so start visualization service dot reset all st visualization codes. So basically it's saying make them all -1, so that there's no way that there's any kind of collision, ID collision. Okay, so F12. Okay. All right, so now we add one. And see how like right now we're not even thinking about keyboard things. That's where Cypress comes in so big, because like we're not thinking about any of the stuff. See how we have two visualizations, and I think they're going to have the exact same viz component ID, and that's because this one came back as no stale ones when this one was in fact actually stale. And you see how this time it stayed at 2. I'm guessing one of them is 8. Yeah, and that one's actually right. The second one's actually the correct one. Curious. I don't even know. Okay. So, oh, that's crazy. So we added the third one, and that's just gone. Oh, but there's 4 of these. So I don't know. So now let's go to our reset all visualization components. Go to implementations. This.st visualizations dot for each. So we want to do this for each one of them. And like I said, I don't even know if this is going to fix everything. It definitely needs to be done though. And I don't even know if when we do work through it, if it's, like this is even the right answer. I think this is the right answer, but regardless of whether this is the right answer or not, visualization dot component ID, and that is equal to -1. So we never have any negative IDs. If we ever had negative IDs, it would break everything. All right. So basically now they should all come back as stale. Maybe expired might be a better word. I think stale and expired are pretty much the same word though. I think stale maybe a little bit. Stale is probably a little bit more precise in this context. Well, no, that's not true. Anyways. Okay, now let's change views. Change views again. Oh, that's interesting. So let's see. If when we change views, there should be 3. So it knew there was 2, but it doesn't know how to deal with one of them. So boom, yeah. So now there's 3. Let's look. And the left one, so that's good. I think that's really good. It reset all of these to have, so it did reset them all to have a -1, but then it filled them in, and those numbers seem right. 25, 33, and 34. That's interesting to me. Oh wait, no, 24. Okay, that seems weird. 24 component ID is 33, 25. Yeah, so it did get them in a weird order. But now let's go back to this view. Let's clear this. Let's see what we have now. So that's viz component ID 43, viz component ID 42, viz component ID 41. I don't know. That seems like it might be right. And then it's left is 0, 200, and 100. So that seems reasonable. I think if we add one now, it's almost like, okay, so let's do in, oh, okay, we have another, I think it's delete or something, right? We do have empty. Okay, so let's change this to empty. So these are empties. So let's clear this one and add a viz. Okay, so we had 4 vizzes. We have 3 here. But see, it did fill it out. So there was 3 at the time, but now it's got 4. And our components are, like the third component is st component ID 53. Let's see. stviz component ID 53. That looks good. Now, for some reason, it thinks it's, oh, and that one's right, right? It's saying, hey, it's at the left 600. Now, this one is stviz component ID 41. So let's look at this one. stviz component ID 43. So that's the first one. I think, yeah, 41, 42, and 43. And I guess that does make sense that as things would get deleted and IDs have been created, only one more gets created. So I think all of that looks good. Now, why it's not drawing, I don't think has anything to do with this. I think this is perfect, though. I think our components and our visualizations are in sync. We have 4 visualizations, even though it does say 3 here. We do have 4 of them, and they're at 0, 1, like they're in sync. Their IDs are in sync, and for some reason, the animation piece is not able to find some of these visualizations, and that's something totally different. I think the original problem we were trying to fix was this. You add one, you close this, come to this view, you come back, you add a second one. That was the original problem. We knew that the other problem of this was a different problem. And I think we have finally conquered this bug. So the next step after this long ass video, 2 hours and 16 minutes, marathon video. Man, this was a really good way to use my vacation, my holiday. Because it was just like this had to be done. Some long ass. Now that was literally, I think, I don't know. It's if you're a developer, you know that it's very difficult to. It's very easy to underestimate how long things would take. But I honestly think if I had been heads down just grinding on this, it would have taken me about 20 minutes to do this thing, to figure all this out. But trying to do it while talking and working through things was a lot harder. So next is to try to figure out this bug, right? The bug of, and it's, it takes more. This is a much more exotic bug, right? We go add, boom, boom. Why is this not being drawn? And what's really nice about this whole thing is we do know that this is right, and we know that these are in sync, right? This is 24 and 23 or 25, and this one is 25 and 24. Now it kind of seems like, oh yeah, oh, okay. And let me fix that bug right now because I know exactly why it's going backwards, and that's because when we do in our visualization service, when we do this get first stale, if it already has found one, we shouldn't. We only want the first one. We're getting last right now. Basically, this one is getting the last. And I actually did want to see if visualization is not equal to undefined. Right? It starts off as undefined. If we've already found it, let's move on. Right? So basically what we want to see is add, back, F12, clear, and back. And what we want to, what? Why do we have all these extra? Is this different? I think this is different. But we do have a whole bunch of extra visualizations. I think that's the next thing to fix. Let's see. Because the other thing I was doing was, okay, back, then back here again. Oh, now we have 2 visualizations. Okay, so this. Oh, not equals is equal to undefined. Silly rabbit. Let's see. Boom. Boom. Well, let's do this again. Boom. Yeah. And now if I add one and I leave and I come back, let's clear this and we leave and we come back. See, we still have two. This is viz component ID 30 and this is 31. Yeah, so that fixed that. That was, we were going to end up having the visualizations. Actually, it wouldn't have even mattered. I guess that wouldn't have mattered because all that matters is this stuff that, like, what gets drawn in here has nothing to do, like the component ID is just a component that's getting drawn, and it's going to get drawn based on whatever the specs are, specification for it is. That's it. But anyways, that was a long ass video. I don't even think I'm going to rewatch this video. This one was just a long, miserable, brutal video. We fixed this bug, so tomorrow I'm probably going to clear every console log I have, um, and then start working on the next bug, which is why in the world is it not drawing everything where it belongs? Right now, it's just drawing everything where in the very first spot, it's ignoring this second value. See, right now, the second one should be being drawn at third. And then if I do this, it does draw the third one. I think if we, is there three now? See, like it drew this one in the right spot, but it did not draw this one in the right spot. So, figure out why it's ignoring existing ones. I think it's that hash thing. Um, and I'm wondering if I should disable that behavior um, until it actually becomes a problem. The browser does a really good job of optimizing like redraws, as long as but I don't know. But that is for next. So tomorrow I'm literally just going to clear up all of our components. I think this is going to be the last video or the last cycle where I hold tight to I only do commits when unit tests and end-to-end tests are done. I love the concept of it. I think it's a terrible idea, because it just like maybe it's like unless it says unless the commit message says this is for the end-to-end tests, I'm assuming everything else is like not a complete work, isn't complete. But yeah, because this is just outrageous what I've done here. And you have to try stuff out. Like I had a sense that was a bad idea, but now I know it's a bad idea. I think it's a terrible idea. I've definitely worked in a lot of places where they did not want you to commit anything until it was fully tested. Um, I always pushed back on that because I always knew it was a bad idea. But now I can put words to it. Um, I remember we had a CI/CD guy that was like, you shouldn't. Basically, we had like where you would do a commit and then it would automatically do a bunch of stuff. It would like when you commit, it automatically pushed. You had no choice. They had hooks in it that automatically did that. I think I'm not 100% sure on that. And then it would run um, all these processes, and like a lot of times the unit tests and stuff weren't working, and they would be like, you have to get rid of
you have to fully test everything before you do a commit. And it was like, that's a terrible idea, but I could never put words to it. The thing is I was a senior developer and they were junior developers. So I was able to just say, and that's just how it is. But now I can say, we're going to end up with thousands of changes, hundreds to thousands of changes before we can get everything working. We have to be able to iteratively commit. Um, so, anyways, if you're still here, it's probably just one person. It's very unlikely anybody made it all the way to this in this video. This one was a mess, and happy coding. Bye.